Private company feeding us GMO foods, they wanting us trapped. My young boy just came home for a booting, that young nigga tapped. Can't be slipping when I'm puffing on a potent, silent but I stay strapped. Gave her wood, now she talking about family tree, you know it ain't that. Ain't got time for the bad bees, dog, I got money on mine. Watch my chain too long, had me nervous, I put money on your mind. The Cali be potent, that girl is a bogus, I can't risk my seed.
It's like a notch sound, so it sounds like a notch is hitting another notch, which is kind of what makes it sound like your gun is damaging itself. Whereas I feel like with this, it sounds like a very clean auto, like it sounds like it sounds like a healthy gear. I don't know how to explain it. It sounds like a healthy gearbox. Whereas with my LT, anytime I do that, I'm wary. I'm like, ooh, am I damaging my gun? Whereas this, it sounds like it's built for it. And I think maybe why I'm getting that difference is just because this is a Gen 3 gearbox and my LT is a Gen 2 with upgraded parts. Do you see the difference? So maybe that's the problem. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. What else can I show you guys? Like, I don't think there is much to show you. Obviously it has a end metal loader, then it obviously has this spring unit up the top there, but the spring unit, from what I've seen, it just looks like plastic that looks like a spring unit, but I think it's just because they wanted the gun to look like a real replica, if you get what I mean. But yeah, man, apart from that, guys, I don't know what else to show you. Like, obviously it's got like a curve shape, I call it a banana shape trigger. It's not a straight trigger like the LT, and that's just because the LT, I think the LT has an electric trigger unit. With this one, I'm not quite sure if it is an electric trigger unit, but it seems very responsive. So if it's not, maybe it's just where it's a Gen 3, but it is very, give me 1 second, because it might be, yeah, I think it is an electric trigger unit, because that's way too responsive not to be an electric trigger unit. I've used guns and you can just feel it. You could run back and press it, but it just won't be ready. You'll hear the gearbox struggling, whereas gearbox can deliver. So therefore, good investment, peeps. Out of rating, because I always rate guns, I know people are gonna be like, oh, why didn't you rate it? For me, I would rate this. Do you know, it's so crazy, because I feel like if this had an M4 body, I would want to rate it 10 out of 10. Is that bias? If this was an AR layout or M4 layout, I would want to rate it 10 out of 10. But you see, because it just has that G36 look, I feel like I want to rate it maybe a 9. Just because of the look, because it's not as pretty as an M4. Like, even for example, my LT isn't an M4, but you see, because it's built in an M4. Let me put my stock back on, because you're probably like, it looks butters without the stock. Like, because it's built in an M4/AR style. Do you know what? Like, my LT is basically an AR. That's actually a good point, because it's an M4 body, but it doesn't have the same mags as an M4. Do you get it? So technically, yeah, technically you could call my LT an AR, and look at it. It just, for me, out of the two, if somebody was to say pick one in terms of a beauty contest, for me the AR would always win. Just because, I don't know, like, just a sleek body, then the long stock, and then the fact that I can just standardly add a grip, then the fact that my barrel sits out a bit, and obviously, yeah, that's custom work that I've done to it, because it doesn't come standardly looking like that. But I don't know, man. It's almost like having two sisters, and one is the fluffy thing and one is the slim thing. The slim thing's always gonna get more attention. It doesn't mean that the fluffy thing isn't a pengers, because bro, the G36, I wouldn't, like, I'm currently trying to look for a gun to upgrade so I can get rid of this, and I am struggling. I'm struggling just because the Gen 3 gearbox with the decompression spring, with the way the mag sits, with the capacity of the mag, because I think the mag standardly holds 120 or 130. There's even some of them that hold 140, 150, whereas M4 mags, they don't standardly come like that. I think you have to buy like semi-pro ones to get 150. I don't even think they go up to 200. I've looked, I think one time I saw one for 2 that holds 250 rounds, and even then it was like, what they wanted for it was like a £60 mag. I was just like, bro, it's not even a gas mag, it's a plastic mag, and you want £60 for it. So straight out of the box, and these mags, they're cheap, they're like 10 quid. My local shop, I think I saw them the other day for like 12 quid, 11 quid, something like that. The cheaper ones are like 9, 8 quid. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you're coming to Airsoft and you're like, I want the ability to upgrade, I want the ability to play indoors, I want the ability to custom things very easy, I want the ability to not feel tired at the end of the day, or too tired at the end of the day, should I say, then for me, guys, I would always recommend the G36. Beautiful gun, reliable. It just does what it says on the tin. Like, I feel like maybe I should. Do you remember when I came into the game? I was like, oh, G&G should send me and let me become like a scout for them or something, or a promoter. I'm actually at a place where I'm just like, any brand that wants to send me a G&G, what's it called, a G36 for free, and custom it for me so I can talk about it, please feel free, because I actually really like the gun. I'm actually considering buying one of them brand new. That's how much I like the gun. Like, it's reliable. The folding stock for me is a big seller because it turns it into SMG straight away. The quick change spring, the accessibility to the spring, because one of the biggest nightmares in Airsoft is taking your guns apart and trying to get access to these little bits and bobs. It just, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm being paid to do this, because I'm not. Like, this is just genuinely one that I've customed myself. But yeah, like, it just is a beautiful overall gun. And do you know another thing I found interesting when I was looking at them? Yeah, if I put them side by side, my barrel is not as long, but when I say to you, the shot on this is better than the shot on this, it's very like, trust me, it makes me feel sad because I've spent quite a lot of money to upgrade this. But I think because this is basically like an intermediate gun. If you buy it box stock, it's an intermediate gun, whereas I feel like this, though the price is intermediate, I feel like this is a semi-pro gun. Like, I'm telling you, if you were to up the spring by like 2 or 3 levels, if you were to change out your trigger to an actual speed trigger, if you were to extend your barrel a bit much more, and maybe upgrade the inner barrel, I'm telling you, you'd literally have something that could compete with a TM. And for me, that's very interesting because it's an ASG gun. Like, I'm not saying ASG don't make good guns, but I'm just like, it's a £200 gun, bro. Like, that's, for me, that's a bit mind-blowing, because TM guns are £500-600, and the things I just said to you don't cost much. A speed trigger, £25-30 at most. A new spring, the level I'm talking about, maybe £20-30 at most. Don't go over that price. The new barrel, £20-30 at most. And I think that was all I said. Yeah, I think that's all I said. So, do you get what I'm trying to say? I wouldn't even touch the hop up. I wouldn't even touch the hop rubber. Like, all of that's fine. Like, it's actually a lovely little gun. Maybe for kids, I'd buy the full polymer version, but trust me, if you're a man them, yeah, bro, try and get a metal version. Cause I think for me, I'm gonna look what company makes the metal version. Cause I think my next purchase would be a metal version of this. Like, it's actually a beautiful, beautiful gun. It has to have no, it needs a folding stock, but yeah, defo a good investment. Defo. I wouldn't get rid of, don't get it twisted, guys, I will never get rid of my AR-15. I just feel like it's, because I spent so much money and time on this gun just to get it perfect for me, I don't feel like a gun straight out of the box would have the feel for me. Like, if you notice where my grip is sitting, or how I've got my actual grip down there, or the way the stock sits on my shoulder. Obviously, this gun doesn't have that custom feel for me because I've had to custom it to get it to that place, and I'm still not finished. I probably will add some outer rails under here or on the side, and like I said, I put a sight on it just to make it custom to me, chuck some bullets to give it the custom feel. Like, I've done some things to it, but beautiful gun. I don't even know what else to say. Like, do you know when a gun just has you kind of speechless? Like, I think box standard, this is probably the best gun we've done on the channel so far. Like, no cap. Like, big up G&G with the CM16. But it's like, do you know what? The good example. It's like when, do you remember when I got the Vosk and then I bought the Raven, and I was like, the Raven shoots better, but I still want the Vosk. And it's the same when I bought the, what was it, WEG17 Gen 4. I still had the Vosk where I was like, the WE, it feels better. It's a better build. It shoots consistent, straight out of the box without any adjustments. It's a better off the two, but I still want my Vosk. For me, this is like that. I love the LT. I love my G&G. I feel like they're custom to me, they work lovely. But I think this bad boy right here, this one right here, yeah, all rounder. I'm telling you, you could give this to your 12-year-old son and he would go out there and dominate the field, and you would be confused. Do you get what I'm saying? You'd be like, this is the first time I bring this nigga to Airsoft. But without further ado, I'm just gonna say like, share and subscribe, people. We try and keep these opinions on the channel real and authentic, and try and keep the space online positive. So if you got anything negative to say, probably stop watching and move to another channel. If you got positive things to say, or even just creative feedback, because I don't mind real feedback. If it's good if it's feedback to say, look, I feel like this should have been spoken about more, or I'd love to see that, or come on man, please do share. But all that negative shit, leave it for somewhere else, guys. Do you know what I'm saying? Until we next meet, people, wishing you guys a lovely Christmas period. Hope you had a lovely one.
The ego tripping, think different and let go of the ego tripping. Think different and let go of the ego tripping. Think different. Working 6 to 2 to pay some ish that's overdue. Meditate on past actions, ish I had to do. Working 6 to 2 to pay some ish that's overdue. Meditate on past actions, ish I had to do. Private company feeding us GMO foods, they wanting us trapped. My young boy just came home for a booting, that young nigga tapped. Can't be slipping when I'm puffing on a potent, silent but I stay strapped. Gave her wood, now she talking about family tree, you know it ain't that. Ain't got time for the bad bees, dog, I got money on mine. Watch my chain too long, had me nervous, I put money on your mind. The Cali be potent, that girl is a bogus, I can't risk my seed. My heart too low, took L's like fug. Big slime soon free. Had to drop cause the fans they keep asking. You drop trash, had the fans all laughing. Disappeared and I brother grown, we conversate, I ain't preaching. Roll some loud, talk some life, hold his mouth when I'm speaking. I had trauma about my childhood plus how I grew. I had trauma about my exes plus things they do. Ayy, look what I did to shine, ayy.